Hi, I'm Josh Vogel. This is my cat, Margaret. Um, I wanted to talk today about in this issue of the Sloth Report video log about different tournament formats for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and adaptability. So, adaptability is the ability, at least in like movement arts, the ability to take your skill set and apply it in a variety of different circumstances, whether they're choreographed or non-choreographed. So if you take a shrimp in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the movement of shrimping, if you just shrimp up and down the mat and never use it in any other way, then you're not going to have a very adaptable skill set. Um, but when you start sparring with shrimps, you start on the bottom of the mount and you have to elbow escape and you use a shrimp. You're on bottom of closed guard. You put your foot in the hip, scoot your hips out, arm bar. This is how you develop the ability to take that shrimp and apply it in a variety of different situations. So it's the same thing with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a whole skill set. You take your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and you apply your game in as many different circumstances as possible to build an adaptable skill set, one that can be used in a variety of different situations. Now, there's an argument in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu about what the best rule set is for tournaments. Some people think that IBJJF style tournament rule set is the best one. Some people feel like submission only is the best one. I think the thing that is being missed is that if you look at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu if you look at what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has always been, it's been something that's been applied in a variety of different circumstances. It's been something that has a competitive format or competitive application, and there's always been a variety of different competitions with different rule sets. It's something that people apply in Vale Tudo or mixed martial arts, something that people apply in different self-defense scenarios. So it's something that's always had multiple applications, and this is one of its strengths. And so if we just take the component of competitive Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, this little nugget of the whole of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you say that there's one best rule set and you work towards, as a community, you work towards standardizing the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu rule set, what you're doing is you're going to have people that specialize in this competitive rule set. And things that fall outside of that rule set get lost. So, for example, in Gi Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there are very, very seldom heel hooks, right? So we're doing our Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when we're wearing a gi as if heel hooks don't exist, and as if neck cranks don't exist, and as if other things don't exist. And that's fine, but it's only fine because there are other avenues to explore those things. So you can do no-gi tournaments, do heel hooks, neck cranks, whatever you want. So our jiu-jitsu remains adaptable and able to be applied in a variety of situations because we have a variety of situations that we regularly apply it in. So I think this is a long-winded way of saying that I think one of the strengths of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is that there are a variety of rule sets and a variety of tournaments. There's, and there's a variety of high-level tournaments now, which is good because for a while, even still, IBJJF is kind of like attracts what people think of as the best athletes. So a large part of the jiu-jitsu community trains with IBJJF in mind most of the time. But as other high-level events are coming up, like Eddie Bravo Invitational, Metamoris, I don't really know where that stands as a business right now, but that was something that people were looking at for a while. Abu Dhabi has always been around for no-gi. Polaris, all these other great events that are attracting high level competitors with different rule sets. What this does is now you have people that can train at a high level and go from an IBJJF tournament to Abu Dhabi to Eddie Bravo Invitational to Gracie Worlds to some other tournament with a completely different rule set, and learn how to apply their games and make their games adaptable and not completely reliant on just one skill set, and develop different aspects of their game. So look at it like this, right? Let's say my game is double leg, get on top of half guard, and pass half guard, go to the mount, and head and arm choke from the mount. And if I get rolled over from half guard or swept, bottom of half guard, get the close guard, armbar from the close guard. Keep it just a super simple game. If I enter a tournament where I get 30 points for a takedown, but no points for sweeps, then this encourages me to really develop my double legs and maybe master that particular aspect of my game. If I go into a tournament where there are no points for takedowns, or maybe 1 point for takedowns, and 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 or 50 points for sweeps, then I'm encouraged a little bit to work on my takedowns, but I would be better served to really develop my sweeping game from on bottom in order to maximize the points that I get. If I'm doing a submission-only tournament where the only way to win your match is by submitting the other person, otherwise you get disqualified and you can't continue to the next round, well, then I really have to develop my submissions and my killer instinct for snatching up submissions. If it's a tournament like that and there's no time limits, well, I have to get good at either getting my submissions super quick so I have energy for my next match, or I have to develop an ability to pace myself and be very strategic and look for openings as they present themselves. So each skill set or each tournament rule set helps you develop different aspects of your game and keeps you well-rounded and forces you to develop new parts of your game and explore new areas. But most importantly, it keeps your skill set adaptable so that you don't have one game that applies in IBJJF with the gi and one game that applies in Abu Dhabi, completely separate game. If I'm 100% guy that's based on spider guard and sweeping from spider guard and getting points, then this is going to work in IBJJF tournaments because I get my points, but this strategy is not going to work very well in a no-gi tournament like Abu Dhabi, for example, where A, there's no sleeves to grab for spider guard, but B, you get penalized for guard pulling at a certain phase of the match. So it's good to have spider guard, but it's also good to have aspects of your game that can apply to other areas, and it's good to have a variety of testing grounds for your game, for your concepts, for your ideas, so that you don't over specialize just in one area. If you over specialize just in one area, what happens is your game starts to lose resiliency. It starts to become more brittle, because what happens when you're taken out of that area? What happens when, the other day I was rolling with somebody that I never rolled with before, and we were training in the gi, and 99.9% of the time in the gi, during open mats, people are not going to heel hook you. But I was training with this person, and they came from a school that plays a little differently, and they go for heel hooks with the gi on. And so he went for a heel hook, and I didn't expect it, and luckily I trained footlocks a lot, so I was able to defend it, but it caught me by surprise for a second, because I mentally was not ready for somebody going for a heel hook with the gi on. If I never trained heel hooks, or if I had never ever ever trained heel hooks with the gi on, then I would have been caught by surprise and probably gotten tapped. But I'm used to playing by different rules, so I was prepared for that, even though I was a little surprised. I think you guys get what I'm saying. So, in short, keep your game adaptable. Adaptable means you can apply it in a variety of different circumstances, from various tournament rule sets to self-defense situations, some self-defense situations, to mixed martial arts or Vale Tudo situations. Try to test your stuff out. Even if you don't compete, just try to play at the gym with different rule sets and different ways of thinking. Today I'm going to roll with self-defense in mind. Today I'm going to roll and put on some MMA gloves and do some striking with my friends. Today I'm going to do IBJJF style jiu-jitsu. Today I'm going to do Eddie Bravo invitational rules. Today I'm going to do submission only. And you'll find that your game becomes a lot more resilient and a lot less brittle, because it doesn't rely on certain rule structures. And well, you guys get what I'm saying. I'm kind of rambling at this point.